Hello and welcome again to Simple Ways for Sheets. Today we are going to take our custom functions a step forward. We are going to create professional documentation for our function so it's more readable and we can understand it and anybody else can use it and understand it and we can remember what we have done to our functions. If you remember, in the previous video we had created the cube function. If you remember, we say equal cube and we can select one of our functions and simply giving an example cube, which is the name of the function, and only an object and about it and a variable here called x and nothing inside it. So how to enhance this? Simply if we go to this function, I can add here at param, which is the parameters, okay, and here after the params I put a curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets it will be the type of the parameters that will be passed to the function. For example, I put here a number, so to cube I need to pass a number and then space, and I need to put here the variable used. So instead of making it x, we can change this x. So I shadow this line and change all occurrences of this x, and we shall call it, for example, value. Okay, that's simple. Escape. So all in our program as x is replaced with a value all the times together. That's an important trick if you are making a big program and you need to change a variable in all the programs. And after the number here, I leave space and I put value, and the description of the value will be the number to be cubed. Okay, and then I'm going to save it and I return back to my sheet. Okay, and then I will look for the cube function again. You can see here very nicely that's cube of a value, example cube of a number, and about this function cubes a single input, and the value, that's the number to be cubed, the description of the input. So that's very professional. We can add more professionality if we go to the other functions. For example, here, this function cubes the input range values. I will say this one is using nested map functions. Okay, and that's so like this. I'm extending my about, and I'm going to add here, but also add parameters. So add param. And I'll open curly brackets, but this time I need to make the reader, you need to understand that that's not a value, that's a range. So it will be A1, for example, to D3. So that represents a range, and this range is coming for the value, for the input or the parameter that I'm inputting it. And here I can put more description. The range of values to be cubed. You can enter a single cell. Okay, and you can make a description for it. For example, you make it like this, A1 or a number. Okay, and then I save. Now if I return back to my sheet and instead of selecting cube, I select cube range map. Now we can see that's very professional, the documentation. That's the title, cube range, and here that's a value here. Or you can, instead of the value, you can put here range. For example, if naming it a value, you can name it a range. Okay, and then here you can give it the example, and about this function cubes the input range, and here in the value description, the range values to be cubed, you can enter a single cell or a number. Okay, and even if you don't like it as a value, we can go here, we can select this value and you can change this value as a range. Okay, so we can say this one is range instead of value. And then we need to change it here also, because that's where it is replaced. So this one is range. Then we save and we go back to our function. You can see here that it's a range now written, so it's very professional, and here appears the range, and even if you can add it as a single cell or a number of cells, so you can understand it. Now you know how to create professional documentation for your custom function. So for yourself you can use it again and you can pass it to other persons, or can put it as an add-on to the market or as a library that you can export. That we can see in coming videos. See you in coming videos and more insights from simpleways.for sheets. You can join our us. You can subscribe spread the information, and join our trainings on Udemy. You find the links in the description box, and you can ask for professional services in Sheets and apps, script, and automating your functions using also the links in the description box. See you in coming videos and more insights.